I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Chris Burden, and today on this tape I'm going to show you excerpts or visual records from 11 different pieces that I've done starting in 1971 into 1974. The pieces have either been filmed on Super 8, which is the most common, or 16 millimeter or half-inch video. And there's one that's actually a television ad that was taken off the air. As you watch this tape and listen to my explanation of some of the pieces, I want you to remember that it doesn't cover or encompass the whole body of my work, that you're only seeing sort of a very arbitrary selection. You're not seeing the pieces that don't lend themselves to being taped or filmed because of purely technical reasons, such as it's too dark or it's too far away or something like that. You're not seeing the pieces that don't lend themselves to being filmed because it's not right. I didn't want them filmed. I didn't make any sense. There's an exception to that. There's a bed piece, which you're going to see in this tape. Some excerpts from it. It's a piece that involves staying in bed for 22 days without getting up. We'll see how successful that is, whether it can convey some of the energy and the feelings that were going on during that piece. And another reason is that I haven't attempted to film some of the pieces is that some of the pieces involve a one-to-one relationship with me and one person in the audience, and having a camera or just even another person there would disturb the whole setup, and so it's not possible. Other than that, there are some pieces that I've tried to film and haven't been able to because there's been a technical error, either on my part or somebody else's. Somebody forgot to push the button. I couldn't concentrate or give enough of my attention to filming it because I was really involved with the performance. So you're really seeing what you're going to see today is a very arbitrary selection, sort of almost a haphazard selection of works. And another thing is that I've been hesitant to release these because of the sort of arbitrary nature of how they've come about. But more than that, it's because film and tape are taken as reality while you, the viewer, or anybody's watching them. So for the most part, I've recorded most of my pieces with still photographs because they're so old-fashioned that they're taken very abstractly and they're taken symbolically. But I guess at this time I feel that there's maybe enough energy in the pieces or in the films that it's important to show them, and that some of it will filter through. But I want you to try to, although I know a lot of you will forget it, to remain aware that you're not seeing the actual experience. And I guess with that we can go right into the first piece, which I've recorded on film, which is 220. This film that you're watching was shot by one of the participants from one of the ladders that you've just seen. The piece consisted of lining the gallery with black plastic and then flooding it with about 12 inches of water. 3 other people and myself waded through the water and climbed onto these wooden 14-foot step ladders. After everybody was in position, I dropped a 220-volt electric line into the water, thereby sealing us in. Because if we came down off the ladders and stepped into the water, we'd be electrocuted. I think you can probably see the 220 line coming out of the wall here on the right. The piece is already in progress as you're watching this. It began at midnight and it was to run to 6 o'clock in the morning. This is one of the participants that didn't make it. She's peeking through the male slot. There's supposed to be 5 people in the piece. All the black that you see is black plastic, and the piece became very ominous, partly because of all this black, but in the situation itself, but also because of the dampness. The air became very heavy, the walls were sweating, the ceiling was dripping. The whole situation was very spooky. What's happening now is that we're at the bottom of our ladders and we're looking at a problem which has developed. The ladders are wooden, they're bone dry, and they're absorbing water. So we have these visions of being on top of our ladders at 5:30 in the morning and being electrocuted. We're just looking at bubbles now that are coming up. You can't actually see them, but we're speculating as to what's going on. There's going to be a jump. As soon as you see us step into the water, there's a 6-hour jump. The piece will be over, and Barbara Burden will have cut the electricity on the outside of the building. So we're coming down off the ladders. Piece is finished. The water level has dropped considerably, and there's some speculation as to what was going on. There's some of those bubbles I was talking about. What happened is that it leaked out of the plastic into the units beside me, but luckily I didn't damage anybody's shops or equipment. In Shoot, I'm shot in the upper left-hand arm by a friend of mine with a .22 rifle. The only visuals I have of this piece is a very short film clip, about 8 seconds long. So I'm going to begin the piece with an audio tape that was made during the actual performance. In the audio tape, some of the things to listen for are, do you know where you're going to stand, Bruce? Then later, right before the film clip happens, you'll hear me say, are you ready? Then you'll hear the clicking of the Super 8 camera. Later, after the clip is over, another thing to listen for is the sound of the empty shell dropping on the concrete floor. Okay, so I think we could go right into the audio tape.
You know what we're going to do, Chris? See the bar? Yeah. I'm going to stand here. Aim this section in here, below this